Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Just Make It Pretty podcast. Today, we are talking about OSCs and how they are the intersection of marketing, sales, and our buyer. And I have a special guest here that's had a really amazing career as an OSC. She's won awards year after year, and it's going to be a really interesting conversation about how she has bridged that gap between marketing and online sales. And I'm just really excited to have this conversation today. So if you are interested in the online sales and marketing conversation, please stick around and let's get into it. Welcome to the Just Make It Pretty podcast, the marketing and mindset show for home builders and beyond. I'm your host, Sarah Haynes, and around here we go beyond pretty pictures and we get honest about what's working, what's not, and what it really takes to build better brands, better experiences, and better teams. You'll find creative ideas, practical strategies, and conversations that actually matter. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get started. So I'm so excited. I have brought in Felicia Berry. She is the online sales counselor at Viera Builders, and she has had an amazing career. I got to talk to her a little bit before this episode, and Felicia, I'm just so excited that you're here and taking the time to talk to us today. So thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
I'd love to hear a little bit about you. How did you get into this role with the Viera Builder, and just what brought you to this point? Because I know you've had quite the career and quite the journey.
Yeah, I guess it's an unusual path to OSC. So I've been told, because I was 20 years in marketing. So I spent 4 years in marketing here for this builder, and that was the first time I worked for a home builder and absolutely fell in love with home building. So at the end of those 4 years, I just really wanted to do more. And I wanted to talk to the people about these homes. And I'm over here creating the brochures and working on the website and the social media. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to them. And so I went and got my real estate license and then talked with my boss at the time. And she was like, yeah, I'll move you into the sales teams. This would be a perfect fit. So I got my real estate license. And then she was like, second thought, I want you to go to a conference and learn about online sales counselors because I think you would be a perfect fit for that. And I want to start that program for our company. And at that time, I'd never even heard of an online sales counselor. I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's 3 days in Clearwater, so count me in. And so I went to the conference, and Leah Fellows with Blue Gypsy was leading the OSC track of the conference. And so I got to spend 3 days soaking in everything that the OSC does and the challenges that they face and how she was helping them overcome. And then I also met Heidi Schrader with Lasso there. And that was another thing that we were like, our CRM really isn't working for us. So she also wanted me to feel out what's working out there. And we got to go around the room, even in the class for the OSCs, and talk about what CRM are you using, what do you want to using, and to hear the good, bad, and the ugly about all of them. So I got to come back with this wealth of knowledge. And so she and I basically wrote the job description, hired Leah, and set off. And when I came back from that conference, I was just so on fire to be an OSC, because what I discovered is they have one foot in marketing and the other foot in sales. So I was like, this is me. I am here.
Yeah.
It was perfect transition for me to get into sales and to be able to talk to people about the things that I'm passionate about and to help them find their pathway to a home and everything. But it was also a perfect transition for our sales team, because oftentimes when you implement an OSC program into a company that's never had one, your sales team goes, what? You want to take all my leads and my phone's not going to ring? And you're going to do what? I had worked in marketing with them, and I had been at all their sales meetings for 4 years. So I had already established that trust, and they trusted me. And there was only a couple of times where somebody called me and goes, our phone's not ringing. What's going on? And I was like, yeah, remember the online, oh, okay. Yeah. Once they saw that I'm the one sifting through all the 80% of the calls that are really not leads, and I'm nurturing the ones that are and getting all the information. So I'm really on a silver platter saying, here you go. Here's this appointment. Here's this lead that's interested. I saved you all this time from digging through all these leads that, that weren't really leads. And so now it's a perfect symbiosis of teamwork.
That's so incredible. And it's funny because I would not call myself an OSC at all, but I've dabbled, right? I've filled in sometimes. I know about the position, and going from being in marketing to being an OSC, there's it's a lot of like different skill sets. So the fact that you were able to do that, I think is really unique and really cool.
Thank you. And because I have my real estate license, whenever we're shorthanded in the field, I can go and sit in the model homes for the sales managers when they're gone. And then for the past couple of months, I've been doing that more, and it's really given me a better understanding of what they're experiencing in the field as well. Because on this end, I think I know what's going on out there when these people show up, and I think I know what they're going to ask for and how it's going to go. And but once you're actually out there and you hear the conversations and you see that it's, oh, okay. So when the sales managers say they
Mm.
really don't want to fill out a registration form or whatever it is,
There you
like,
go.
oh, I get it now. So it's been really invaluable to me just to understand more fully being out in the field, what that looks like, and when three different families show up at the same time and the different things that they're experiencing too.
And this is skipping ahead, but it's the perfect segue with what you just said. I think a lot of times with any disconnect that happens between sales or marketing or OSCs or whatever, leadership, whatever it is, I feel like a lot of it is just like a misunderstanding or just that you haven't been in that position, you haven't experienced it, you just don't have the personal experience to lean back on. And that's where kind of some of these disconnects happen. And so having someone like you that's been in all of those roles and actually has been able to see it, I can't imagine how valuable that is for your team and being able to just show empathy on all sides and really break it down in a way that everybody needs to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. And it does really help. I share analytics at the end of every month for that help the sales team, and it helps the marketing team, and it helps the design studio team with everything that's been going on, so everybody can have the same clear picture of what's going on. Because having come from marketing, again, you think you know what is going on in sales, and so you make these assumptions, and they make the same assumptions about marketing, right? They think if you were just doing your marketing, we'd have more leads. And if the marketing's, we ran a campaign, so you should have made more sales. It's like you make these assumptions about what's going on so having been on both sides really does help me be the bridge between the two and to be able to communicate with both sides. And I go to the sales team meeting and to the marketing meeting, and I can also give the input since the calls are coming through me of here's what's on everybody's mind. Here's the question I've gotten 20 times this week, or here's so that we can address that through marketing and then also have some feedback for the sales team to use too. So we can all be more on the same team and not just finger pointing at each other going,
Yes, that happens so often. And
yeah,
it's one of the things I'm always preaching about, but it's really hard to find the right person that's had the cross training and has the understanding and like even sometimes they want to be on all of these different sides. But I do feel like we're all working towards the same goal. We're all working marketing, sales, everybody's working to sell
yeah.
homes. And so having that one person that's dedicated as that bridge is so valuable. And it's amazing to me. I still find so many builders that don't have an OSC. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, how is that possible?
I know. And when I think back to before we implemented this position, leads used to come in through email, like our CRM would send us an email and say, hey, you got a lead from wherever. And we would just lob it out into the sales team by email, hoping that somebody picked it up, hoping somebody followed up, hoping somebody put it in the CRM that they play. All these things, we're just hoping, but we really had no idea. We didn't know if they did or if they didn't. We didn't know if the marketing dollars that we spent on XYZ got us any more leads or not. We didn't, because we had no way to track that. We didn't know if the person that called and was a lead, did they turn into a sale or not? We don't know. We just had this huge disconnect that we really, and of course, back then during COVID, who really cared, right? Like the houses were flying off the shelves left and right. So we were like, whatever. But now with the slower market, everybody cares. Everybody cares about every single lead. And you really want to have those answers. And obviously it's good practice to be able to know those things all the time, whether the market's good, bad, or ugly. It's really empowered us as a company. And now I can't imagine going back to that. So now when I hear or see that builders don't have an OC, I'm like, oh, bless your heart. You don't even know what you don't know.
I know you don't know what you're missing. It's so true.
Yeah.
And you had, so when you were talking about your whole journey too, you really started this position from scratch for your builder.
Yeah.
And like, obviously you had amazing training and like support in order to do that. But how did you see, I'd love if you could talk about like the buyer's journey that you saw and like you talked about from the builder side, but how did you get any feedback from buyers or anything as you were implementing this new position on an improved experience for them?
Yes, and again, it comes from an understanding. And again, you start with the assumptions. It was a lead and I sent it to you, so why haven't you converted it? And you just think in your mind the buyer journey goes from A to B to C, the end. Write a contract and then we build it for you and then you're happy with it and you give us a good survey. But it's not like that. It's like this, they're all over the place and they're thinking about it for 6 months and then they come back and now they've changed their mind and the market changes and different things. Really what I learned, and I'm so glad that I had months and months of training in it because I would have just thought going into it, I thought, okay, really, how long do I need to train to answer the phone and answer emails? How hard could this be? But really, it was a very extensive training because there is a lot to understand because you're really helping guide their emotional journey through it as much as you are their home finding journey because it is a very important step and it can be very stressful. It can, and your reaction to them can turn the table. You know what I mean? So if somebody's getting super frustrated and upset about something, you're literally there to guide their emotions back to where, oh, isn't this fun? And we're happy and we're home hunting. You have to understand how to get that. And you have to understand how to overcome all these different objections. And you have to practice that because you think in your head, I can overcome objections. And then when you get one on the phone and you're just frozen, and you're like, I'll get back to you on that. So there was just a lot more to learn about that than I really realized going into it. And then now that I've been doing it for 2.5 years, it's a vast variety of experiences. Some people literally call me, they've been on our website, they've chosen the floor plan, the lot, the elevation, their options, and they're literally just going, okay, I want to pull the trigger. I'm like, wow, okay. And then other people I've talked to for a year and we're walking through the process, and some people are on a credit recovery process. I'm really interested, but my credit rate isn't where I need it to be, so I'm going to need 6 months to work on that. But in the meantime, let me call you 20 times a day to ask you about this home. So there's just a wide variety of different experiences, and you have to be prepared and very patient and very empathetic for all of them, and just keep them in the right mindset, in the right positivity of moving forward and getting to where you need them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And also that whole process that you just described too is so exhausting for a salesperson to have to do, for them to
Oh
be
yeah.
like, oh, this person wants to call me 20 times a day. Like they do not have time for that. So
Yeah,
having someone dedicated to that and adding those notes in the CRM so that when
that's
it is
right.
time for them, they can pick up,
Because
so valuable.
the sales agents they have a 30-day window of patience, right? After that, they're like, if you're not ready to buy, I'm moving on. This is too much. But the OSC has all day long, all week long, month long, year long to continue following up with you and that never ending patience.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's so much patience and just a lot of, you can't get tired of this, that kind of the same like conversation happening and the same process happening. So yeah, I can definitely see that. Now,
Yeah.
the other thing you shared is when you were starting out, you also set up your CRM at the same time, it sounded like. Tell me about that process and how did that work for you?
Yeah, there was an awful lot of change going on all at the same time, which is good and bad, right? Like we were establishing the OSC role, so I was training for that. And then we were also training the sales team in how to allow for that, right? Because it's different processes for the whole organization, right? Because you're inserting a position that didn't used to be in the process. So you need everybody to be on the same page there. But then we were also setting up Lasso. We brought in Lasso so I'm training on Lasso in how to use that because then I have to be our resident expert for that so that I can train the sales team and answer their questions every day about that. And then our whole company decided to also change the whole database that we use. And we went from like 5 different databases to one. So we're all training on that too. So it was like a year of mayhem over here, but it was really good because what it allowed us to do was to re-examine every single process. You know what I mean? And when I'm setting up Lasso, it wasn't just let me set up the sales processes and the online sales counselor processes with the same stuff we've been doing for 20 years. Everything got to be new. Everything got to be looked at again and touched again. And in a slower market, that's the perfect time to do that. Let's just re-examine every process and say, is this what we really should be doing, or is just what we've always been doing? So it ended up being a good time to do that when you're bringing on the OSC. Is a good time to change the CRM because then everything starts fresh, everything starts new, and it worked out really well. And yeah.
That's awesome. It's that process is there's so much, like you said, that changes and it's really exciting. Like I'm a person that loves that kind of thing. And I love like breaking everything down and like getting in there and be like, okay, we're gonna improve everything, all the steps. But I know that it can be overwhelming as well for other people. And I've actually had with my team, I've actually had to promise them, okay, I won't change anything else for 30 days because everyone's just this, Sarah, stop. And like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I have to remind myself that not everyone is like me. So, what do you think contributed to your team, like, adopting all of these changes and like did you walk them through it? Like, how did that work so it was successful?
Yeah, when I was done training with Leah to be the OSC, she also trained me and the leadership at the time of here's how I'm going to present it to the sales team and explain it to them. And here's how I'm going to need you to support this so that everybody understands we're all working together and it's going to be better for everyone. There's going to be a big trust in the beginning for them to let go of what they would perceive of letting go of all of their leads and the big trust happening it to see, okay, once we're a month or two into it, you're like, oh, yeah, this is working out great. Okay, everything's fine. So we did have a big meeting where we all sat together and walked through, here's the new process. Here's the way it used to happen. Here's the new process and how it will work. Here's how the handoff will work. And really emphasizing that handoff is super duper important for the success of everybody, right? For the success of the appointment, for the buyer experience, for the sales manager moving forward. We really focused in on how is this handoff going to happen and who's responsible for which part at what point and who picks it up from then. And then what happens if they ghost you after that? Whose responsibility is it after that? Does it go back to you or does it go back to me? So we ironed out all of that right up front so that it really did happen very seamlessly. It was really good.
Basically, it leadership starts it, and then it just comes down to good training and bringing
Yeah.
everybody together.
Yes. Yes.
The training aspect of it and bringing everyone into the same room and being like, hey, here's what we're doing. But that you can't do any of that without leadership, like leading.
Yeah, when they're 100% on board and they're backing up everything that you're saying and saying, yeah, this is what we're going to do and this is how it's going to go and everything, then it just really helps everything transition smoothly. And there have been no big bumps in the road in the last 2.5 years. It's been really good. Then the communication between the sales managers and myself is really good. They text me all the time. We can, hey, this person said this, but then they showed up and said that. Or like they said they didn't have a realtor and they showed up with a realtor. Or people can change their minds and do different things. But the communication is always very important. So the sales teams and I are really good at keeping in touch. So it keeps everything smooth.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit because I want to talk about we talked about OSCs and sales, and now I want to talk about OSCs and marketing. So coming from marketing and like now being an OSC, and like you shared also when we chatted before that you're still doing some marketing tasks and things like that. So in your mind, what is the perfect like relationship between OSC and marketing? How should they interact together?
As a team, you don't where you I almost want to call it like a step parent team, right? Like we're step brothers and sisters because we have the same, at least one same parent. We're different, but still on the same team. We all have the same meal together. So it works really well if it can be very symbiotic like that. And we have new marketing management and it's been phenomenal. So it's gonna be awesome.
That's good. So what kind of information do you feel like you share as an OSC to marketing that like maybe when you were in marketing you didn't have and you were like, man, that would have been so nice.
Yeah, yeah. So traffic is a big, huge one. And then, like I mentioned before, I can share with them directly, hey, I'm hearing this a lot. We should probably address this on social media with some kind of post or blog that addresses this because it keeps coming up. So obviously it's on people's mind, right? And then this kind of segues right into the AI thing because I can't help myself. So when something like that happens, and I think, hey, over the last 2 weeks, an awful lot of people have asked me about or XYZ, or they're really concerned about XYZ. I can go into ChatGPT and say, here's here's this question or concern that I'm getting frequently. Here's the answer. Here's what I want to say. Here's the different places in our website that I want to point them to. And here's the tone of voice that I need it to be. I want it to be warm and inviting, or I want it to create urgency, or whatever it is. and then it helps you write a blog. So then I can take that blog, do a little bit of editing, throw some pictures in, and then I can put it on our website as a blog. And then either I could do that or marketing could do that, either one, right? So I'm putting it on the website as a blog. Then we go to social media post and we create the social media post with the question and the answer, and to say to read more, here's the link to our blog. So now we've linked the two together, right? And then I go into Lasso and I create a marketing email, and I use mostly the blog format where it's the longer reading and the different photos and it's got links to the website and everything. So then I can send out an email blast to the prospects as well. So now we've hit 3 different places to all work together so the AI can see it even better, because the more you do that, the better it sees you. And then we're addressing something that we know is out there that people have questions about. So it's just like the most wonderful thing.
Okay, so I don't want to like skim over this because this is like genius. So I think a lot of marketers have heard, okay, you write your long form content and you make social media after. I've had guests on that have talked about that process, but like you're adding a couple things to it that I think are so relevant for builders. And one is you're starting with OSC insights, number one. And number two, you're not stopping at just your marketing flow of social media to a social post. Like you're taking that into your follow-up for OSC as well. So like we've really grown this whole like flywheel approach so much with what you're describing.
Yeah. Yeah, it covers a lot of bases all at once. And this is definitely the how to work smarter, not harder with AI, because that 10-second process of creating that blog gets you to 3 different things that, are going to generate what you need it to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And marketing is going to just be like loving you because that's so much work that you just say, and it's actually things that people want to hear about. They want, it's valuable to them.
Because you can also just create blogs and information just to fill up your behind the scenes database, because of course the more information you have, the more AI can find you. So that's good too. But when you know that it's hitting something, it's hitting a need, it's hitting an inquiry, that is entirely different.
Yeah. Now, how do you make it so that when you're making all this content, like it doesn't sound like super robotic, and just how do you keep that warmth in it?
Yeah, I do specifically tell ChatGPT I want the tone to be warm and inviting, or I want it to talk about our homes in this way, and here's the verbiage that we use. We call it a this, not a that, or whatever. And the more and more I use it, the more it learns, and so it's doing better and better every time I do. But it's always going to give you like 90% what you need, and then there's always a little tweaking. That doesn't really sound right. And if you saw my LinkedIn post the other day, I asked it to make a picture and it put that person's hand on Ron. I'm like, oh, that's so close, but no. It's kind of like that. So it's going to get you most of the way there, where you didn't have to spend an hour writing a blog and thinking of it and using all your grammar and your spell check and everything. It's going to get you most of the way there really quickly. And then you can spend 5 minutes and edit it and be good to go.
That post was so funny because I actually didn't even notice it at first. And then you said it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so close, but so far.
I know. Yeah.
So do you feel like when people do this, or maybe people aren't doing this yet, but like, what kind of mistakes do you feel like you see? Because like, I do know people, more and more people are starting to use ChatGPT to help them write content and make blogs and things like that. So have you like identified anything where you're like, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to be better here?
Yeah, I'm really intentional about making sure that I edit it and always changing something, even if I don't feel like maybe I feel like they really got the nail on the head on that one. I'm still going to change something just to make sure that it's still me. You know what I mean? Sometimes things can sound a little too perfect. But also, what else I've noticed is the more and more you ask it, once you're on your 15th blog, sometimes it starts to say the same thing over and over. So you don't want to repeat that exact same phrase in 2 different blogs. So then I'll start to recognize that and go, oh, okay, it's getting stuck on this phrase. So I'll just change that. And then, of course, it likes all the little emojis that go with it too. But
Freaking M dash that you cannot get it to stop using.
yeah, editing is definitely the key. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed like some of those like key phrases that ChatGPT just loves, and I could pick them out like between companies where it's, oh, they definitely use it. And it's not necessarily a negative to me because I'm a very AI forward person. Like I really like it, but I can see how it will make differentiating yourself a little bit harder. If you're not paying attention, you're going to start
Mhm.
sounding like everybody else that's using ChatGPT. So I think I've seen it go up and down, right? So everyone sounds really different and then everyone sounds really the same. And so it's this ebb and flow of adoption of AI,
Yeah.
which I find to be really interesting with this process. So how do you use AI with as being an OSE? Like you're not trying to replace that human connection. And like you said, like you've got or buyers that have been with you for a long time and having all these conversations.
Right.
Do you use AI in that process at all?
You can, and here's several different, like we talked about using the blog of something that people are asking about or something like that. It's an excellent, that's like a broader view of what you can use, but down in a more granular sense, if you're using CallRail and you have one of those 20-minute conversations with people, you're listening while you're also writing and taking notes. And okay, you want 4 bedroom, 3 bath, and 3 car garage and 1 story only, and you're from Virginia and your dog's name is Spot, but you're also at the same time in your head, you're already formulating your response, right? Oh, okay. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is the neighborhood for them. Okay, these are the floor plans that would work for them. Oh, you need an inventory in 3 months. Oh, okay. I think we have one of those. While you're also taking notes and while you're also trying to listen. And what you can do when you have something like CallRail is they're going to give you the transcript of that conversation. So you just copy that whole thing and you can put it in ChatGPT and say, could you make bulleted notes for this for me? And boom, it's got bulleted notes. So you know you didn't miss anything like, oh, that 3rd car garage is really important and I didn't get that when I was taking my notes. So it's going to give you those bulleted notes and then you can copy and paste that into Lasso, into your CRM. So you've gotten like super detailed information for your handoff and for when you do follow up and you can reference that and say, oh yeah, these are the things that were really important to them. And then also when you reply to them, you can be sure to hit the things, so that they know that you heard them. So that's one of the ways that you can use it on a more granular level. And then on more larger scale, the blogs and social media posts, and then the email blasts is a larger scale way that you can use it for sure.
When I was covering as an OSC, that was the hardest thing because it's like you're trying to do so many things and you're like typing and writing and thinking. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like I'm exhausted. I don't know how you guys do this. This is so hard. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I did not get the email address that they sent me, or I messed up,
Yeah.
or I got distracted. And so, oh my gosh, those notes, that would be
Yes.
a game changer for that kind of thing. Like,
Yes.
talk so fast and you're like, there's so much happening.
Exactly. And I've only been an OSC for 2.5 years. It'll be, yeah, 2.5 years. But I already feel like the market is vastly different now than it was 2.5 years ago. And so really, I need to go through this year. It's my goal this year to go through all of our follow-up for the sales team and myself to go through all of our follow-up and update it because it's getting a little stale now and the market is different. So it may not track the same. So that's another way that you could use AI is take your old email and to put it in there and say, this is what I've been sending. Can you update it? I want it to sound like this now, or I want it to reference this now. Maybe before you had a 5-step email over the span of 30 days, and now it really needs to be 8, or maybe it needs to be more or less. You maybe need to hit on more things because 2.5 years ago that maybe the interest rates weren't as big a deal as they are now. So now we need to address those things in the process. You can insert different things. You can also ask ChatGPT to help you audit your follow-up. Say, here's my whole follow-up. What would you suggest to make us more competitive or to make us to be able to answer questions better or to make this smoother or to be warmer or whatever. So those are really, really helpful too. That's my next goal is to redo all of our follow-up.
Yeah, that's a big undertaking. But I can imagine knowing that you have this tool that can really help you and
Yeah,
you're not just on your own being like, okay, so now what do I change? Like that's so valuable
it
just
is.
in that whole process. It probably makes it feel less overwhelming, I can imagine.
Yeah, much less overwhelming because if I was sitting here thinking I need to redo all of our follow-up all on my own, I'd be like, how long can I put that off for? Oh my gosh. But now it's okay. No, no big deal. Like I always get excited about the different things that it suggests. I always feel like they're really good suggestions. And another thing that just popped into my mind is you can take your website URL for your builder website and put it in there and say, take a look at all of our blogs and can you make some suggestions for blog content that we're missing that you feel like would help us be more competitive? And it'll spit you out a 10 top 10 list of blogs. And so if you're ever stuck and you don't know what to write about that's a really great way to use it as well, because it'll give you great advice of what to write about.
I think it's really cool too, because the way that you're using AI is it's to support you, because like you have already identified, I need to redo this follow-up because of these things. I know that my buyers are asking these questions, so I'm going to use AI to do this. And so a lot of people, they're like worried about, oh, AI is going to replace me, or AI is going to take my job, or it's going to change how we speak or how we feel. But if you're using it in this way, I feel like that's never going to happen, because it's
Right.
augmenting and making you better rather than replacing you.
Yeah, the human connection it's not going to replace that. It's not going to be able to help guide those emotions like you do. Into the nice thing about it is it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get tired of answering the same question 20 times a day, those kind of things. And it helps you do what you need to do faster and more efficiently, and make it, the work easier on you. But it's so that you can spend more time being human and inserting that human connection, the emotional guidance and everything, because you're talking to the decision maker, and those are the things that move the needle.
Yes. Well, and I think people forget to sometimes. I've heard a lot of conversations about everybody wants to add AI and everybody wants to make sure their websites are AI compliant and all of these things. But we can't forget that we're still selling homes to humans. AI is not going to be buying the home. And so, as much as we use AI to make sure that we don't have gaps in our process and make sure that our website has all the information that it needs, we still need to make sure that we're selling the home to the humans that are actually have a wallet. And it's not only focused on the AI side, because as much as we want it to recommend us to our buyers, like it won't if everything that we do is just AI slop. Like we have to
Right.
add those insights.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like it's enabled me to do my job better, but I don't feel like I could take my hands off the wheel and let it go. I don't see that happening. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I enjoy using it to make my life better, easier, faster, so that I can engage more with people.
Yeah, I was really excited to talk to you because like you're one of the people in the industry that's actually talking about being an OSC and like showing up as an OSC and what that means and how to get better. And it boggles my mind that we don't have more people out there talking about it, but you're one of those people that constantly shows up on my LinkedIn, constantly sharing good information. So I appreciate that about
Awesome.
you and
Thank
building
you.
your brand to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
As we're closing up our episode here, I'd love to hear what your like one piece of advice, like if you could give builders out there one piece of advice that would just shift how their OSC works, or how that impact could be, or maybe they don't have an OSC yet. So like your greatest bit of knowledge, what is it?
Gosh, if they don't have an OSC yet, this is a game changer. It's a game changer for your whole company. The OSC role is there to make your sales team better, to free them up from doing all the follow-up that isn't going to turn into anything, and to give them the true leads that are, so that they can have more time to spend selling. And it's going to help the marketing do better marketing. And then you've got all the analytics that you need for both teams to know that what you're spending money on in marketing is or is not working, and to contribute that to sales and marketing. You're able to track everything for the company. So that's, to me, it's vital. It's a really vital role.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, if you were to speak to other OSCs out there, I know we have a few that listen to
Yeah.
the podcast. What would be your advice to them to update their process or shift their confidence in some way?
My advice to other OSCs is be your own advocate for learning. You're responsible for your own performance, your own growth, your own results. So go after it and get it. Be thirsty for the knowledge. I spend all of my free time, if we have a slow day, I spend all my free time on LinkedIn, watching podcasts, learning more about sales, learning more about marketing, learning about more online sales, or anything that affects our industry, because in some way it's going to help you do your job better. even if it's just understanding a different aspect better, it's going to help you do your job better. And join the conversations, participate in conversations on LinkedIn. And it's going to help you grow in your role and for your company and how you do your job, how you show up. And I find so many inspiring things on there every day. So even sometimes when you're just like, oh, it's another long Thursday, whatever it is, your slow day or whatever, and then all of a sudden you jump on there and you're seeing something or reading something inspiring that helps you do more than you were before. That would be my advice. Get
For
after
sure.
it.
For sure. I totally agree. And I think that's good advice for anybody, like any role, like being ready to learn and being a sponge for new information is just, it's so valuable to your career, no matter
Yes.
where you are in it.
Yes.
If people were to want to reach out to you or if they have any questions, what would be the best way for them to find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Felicia Berry, and also our website is vierabuilders.com, and you'll see my face. It says Ask Felicia, and I'll be right there.
Perfect. All right. Thank you again so much for joining me
Thank you.
today. I hope that all of our listeners enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And I will put all of Felicia's links down in the description box as I usually do. So please head down there, check out Viera Builders and talk with Felicia. She's like a wealth of knowledge, and there's just not enough time to talk about all of these things. Definitely do that. Like this podcast wherever you are listening to it. Follow us. That helps me out, but it also will make sure that you get notified when new episodes come up. And I have been really trying to do like more clips on Instagram. So if you have an Instagram, go follow us there, because I know for me, I will watch 1,000 clips of a podcast episode before I watch the whole thing through. I don't know why, it just seems easier. So you can do that over on Instagram. So head on over there and follow us there. So Felicia, thank you again for being with us today. And I hope that we get to connect again soon. This was really great.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure meeting with you and talking with you.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you in our next episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.